This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today's 5/17/21, show number 268. Well, Nick, we got to lead off with this, even though it's probably not the most important news, but coins, Houston, we got a problem here with Bitcoin, and what a shock, huh?
Yeah, not really a shock, but there's a pretty big problem now. This thing is cracking like an egg over a stove, and we talked about it just last week. We said, this thing is getting testy here, and now you cracked. You got a head and shoulder top pattern in place. That gives you an ultimate downside target of 30,000. I personally think in time we'll probably see the low 20,000 area. But either way, when you have those patterns in place, you got to really, respect them. I mean, we were warning everybody here for, I don't know, since early April, I guess, or mid-April.
Right.
But nobody listens.
Hey, and we got hate. Besides that, we got shade thrown on us. They're like, well, you guys don't understand crypto. Now, look, I predicted this in 2017. I had an article. It's all written, ready to go, reprinting my 2017 article and comparing the charts that you put together to now. This was so predictable. You don't need to know anything about crypto. You just have to know how to read a chart. And that chart was like 10,000 watts, a 10,000 watt amplifier in a one of those cars, one of those tuner cars, where you see the doors bulging out from the base.
The big subwoofer on the back.
Yeah, I mean, could it have been any more obvious?
Well, that's why we put the charts out there, just to give everybody a glimpse, of what the patterns tell you. And it's just amazing. People just don't want to listen to it. And that's even more testament of what's going to happen.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. And even though it's my job to agree with you, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes your gold call I totally could not understand, and it turned out to be right. But this one was just there for anybody, and it's kind of hard to sell crypto short. But what is your take on Elon Musk? I mean, he's like the Pied Piper leading these minions off the cliff into insolvency here, Nick.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, but he continues to ruffle the feathers. And over the weekend, he got into a Twitter spat with people, and I just don't even understand why he does that. But either way, he was saying that I'm a founder of PayPal, I know a bit about money, and it was just bizarre. I mean, I'm just I caught it on Zero Hedge from one of my members who sent it to me, and I'm reading it there, and I said, wow, this is rather remarkable. Here goes the second richest man in the world, and he's in a Twitter spat with people over Bitcoin, and I just I laugh at it, but it didn't matter if he was around or not. This was going to happen regardless, because the chart told you it was going to happen.
Yeah, there was no question. Yeah, so he's in these Twitter spats having fights with people. In the meantime, it appears that Tesla dumped all or part of their Bitcoin holdings, which was responsible for a large portion of their profits last quarter, and probably will be, if they made $1 billion off of them, which is possible, or hundreds of millions, it could be holding their profits up for the rest of the year.
It's possible, and that's the thing. You have a lot of other companies. When Elon Musk said that he was going to start to take coin for purchase of a car, you saw a lot of these fintech companies come in and start to say, hey, we're going to do things. JP Morgan came in and said, we're going to start a Bitcoin unit for a high net worth people. I mean, how do you think those high net worth people feel right now, with Bitcoin dropping 12% today? I mean, it's rather remarkable, but everybody gets excited at the peak, and that's something I always try to tell everybody. Don't fall into the hysteria. These things, when they get parabolic, the euphoria kicks in. I guess it gets people's adrenaline going, but the writing's on the wall, and the writing's on the wall for the market too. It's not just Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, the old joke, how do you make a small fortune in Bitcoin, right?
I don't know it.
Start with a large one. That's actually on Wall Street. How do you make a small fortune? I was just about
to say that's an old Wall Street joke. How do you make $1 million? Start out with 10. Yeah. But
or in Vegas. Vegas too. In Vegas, you went out there in a $100,000 Mercedes, came back in a $500,000 bus, right? But we're not gloating here. What I'm gloating about is like a seasoned observer of markets like Nick, 20 plus years. All right, probably closer to 30 now. Myself, I don't put myself anywhere near your status, Nick, but even I can see this after having been burned so many times by different markets that could never go down. I could see it, all right? And if I could see it, then all of you out there should have seen it and you should have acted, but you didn't. And that's why you need to look at the charts, because charts take emotion out of the calculus. And in fact, they show you where the emotions are heading. So anyway, speaking of emotions, what are the markets doing today?
Yeah, today we're down across the board. It's not a big down day by any stretch. The volume trends are actually on the lighter side, but we're seeing a little weakness, and we had a big pop on Friday. I don't want to take that away from the markets. Markets definitely hung in there on Friday, the Friday effect, as we call it. You know, every Friday seems to be up these days. But today you have the Dow down 128 points. You have the Russell 2000 down 93 cents on the IWM. That's about a 0.4% decline. Then you have the S&P 500 down about 0.5% right now. And then you have the NASDAQ down about 0.5%. So, you know, we got a little bit of a pullback. It's really a mixed tape. Definitely a quiet Monday, but the Bitcoin story is really taking over today, I would have to say.
Well, I got to say, I'm totally enjoying it. You know, it's nice to be vindicated, but more importantly, there's a lesson here that you should have learned from that. And now the news story is going to be, as Bitcoin and cryptos go down, investors turn to traditional safe investments, gold and silver. You can write the headline, you know it's coming. Like you've said, and so many others who follow cycles and charts, is that the news follows the cycle. The cycle does not follow the news, meaning that the cycle is what determines everything.
That's right. And, you know, that's why I use charts, because people hated gold. I mean, I'll never forget, just, in March, people were emailing me, my own members, saying, you know, why are we in this gold position? We're getting killed. I said, just sit tight. There's a very good backtest W pattern that's probably forming, I think, and this will lead to big profits. And, you know, again, if you take a look at gold futures at that time, it was, they were trading as low as 1676. And here we are now at, 1861 today for gold. It's just been an amazing move. Full disclosure, I am out of my gold positions currently. I will be putting them back on shortly, but gold has just been an outstanding performer.
So it's not hard to, that 1850 technical point, really like key. So it's not hard to envision it having a little bit of a pullback in the next few days, perhaps getting just under the 1850, right? And that would be hugely bullish, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All you're going to look for now is that gold has had such an amazing run. It's actually cutting through its 200-day moving average, which to me is bullish. And now you're going into a lot of resistance from the month of January. You're going into all of that overhead resistance from the month of January. And what will happen now, getting a little bit euphoric here at the moment. So maybe we'll go up to around 1865, 1870 on gold futures, and then we'll stall out a little bit. And that'll lead you to the next buying opportunity.
All right. So probably maybe not the best time to hop in now, huh?
Well, if you have a longer term horizon, I don't think there's ever a bad time to hop into gold. If you have a shorter term trader's horizon like I do, I don't chase anything. I always buy cheap. Just what I do. I always buy when it's low. I always buy when the institutions are accumulating, and I sell when they're looking to exit. So, I'm always watching the bigger money, and I'm like the little fish, the remora that swims next to the shark, eating all the scraps. That's what we do. But, if you watch the charts will tell you what to do. But gold is very, very strong today.
All right. So silver hasn't broken through its resistance. The ultimate resistance, obviously, is its all-time high. But for right now, those round numbers, 29, 30, really going to lead to some selling at that point.
Well, you'll hit resistance right now at around 28 and change. Then you'll go to 29, low 29s. That'll be more resistance. And then you have the big pivot from late January, which occurred, we'll say early February, which occurred around $30.35. And then it gets through there. It's off to the races. There's really no stopping it. But at the moment, you're going to hit those headwinds. So you just watch for pattern. Let the charts tell you a little bit more. more. Don't chase anything. But yeah, you got a little resistance overhead. But that this is how markets work. This is what they do. They have to clear those resistance points before you get a new wave of buying that takes it to the next level.
Yeah. So that's why you need to go over to inthemoneystocks.com, sign up so you can watch the charts over Nick's shoulder and find out exactly what these markets are doing. Nothing's guaranteed, but Nick's batting average pretty high. And make sure you take a look at the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Your emails are welcome at my address, KL@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll see what this thing's going to bring tomorrow, but pretty outrageous, isn't it?
It is. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.